Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
And I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell.
And today, as you can see by the overlay here and the title of the video, we are coming to you to talk about not one, not two, but three of the very first episodes of season 3 of House of the Dragon, which premiered late last month, because it was right at the tail end of June. But we have not had a chance to cover these, nor have we really discussed them. Partially my fault. I had a move going on in my apartment that I was dealing with, so I actually just got caught up on episodes 2 and 3. So it had been like 2 weeks since I saw the first episode, which I think we did text about a little bit.
Yeah.
But TJ, I don't throw you in cold into the battle of the Gullet, which kicks off this big premiere episode that we got, kind of this huge elongated sea battle that a lot of people were disappointed, including ourselves to some extent, that a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't get at the end of season 2. Now, what were your thoughts on kind of the opening battle, the entire kind of sequence and everything going on with that? Or if you just want to bounce around to wherever in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, just to start off, I think I do agree. I do hold that same opinion where I think even the first 2 episodes probably could have been last season. And then you started the season with episode 3 is episode 1.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great opening. Again, I really appreciate the recaps. They help immensely. I'm trying to think of a show I was just watching that just restarted where they did a recap and it just didn't feel like it was like enough. Oh, it was X-Men. I started watching X-Men season 2 and they did a recap and I was kind of like, okay, I feel like more happened than I'm just like forgetting, but good enough. But I felt like House Dragon, they did like a good 5 minutes or something like that. That really was
helpful. Really put the pedal to the metal on that.
Yeah. I thought the battle was great. I thought all the kind of the things that happened during the battle, I thought that was also all great and really effective. I think Emma Darcy is just fantastic in this role, and gets even better every episode I'm watching, specifically the 3rd episode.
Yeah, the 3rd episode really I was like insert Wayne's World, like we're not worthy. Like,
right.
Oh my God.
So while I thought everything was great, I did have a tough time just kind of like, and it actually, funny enough, I feel like it did come a little easier to me than I thought, as far as just, like I said, I appreciate the recap, but like, there's a lot of different threads in this show. And so trying to keep everything straight is tough, but I found it actually really, really easy to kind of like grab on to everybody again. Okay, what was Allison up to at the end of season 2? Okay, what was Damon up to at the end of season 2? Okay, I got that too. All that stuff. And I just think they're doing a really good job so far through 3 episodes of keeping my interest and building this story. I know there's been some spats between showrunner and George R.R. Martin, I think, reportedly, I believe.
Yeah, between Condell and him.
Right. But I think whatever they're doing, if he's kind of out of the picture now and they're just kind of going with this, I think so far they're doing a great job. Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm glad you jogged a lot of memories for me of just what I wanted to talk about with the show, because I definitely, me, I will love a thing and defend a thing until the last second when it turns on me and pulls a Brutus. But luckily for me, season 2 did not get to that like Game of Thrones season 8 or like a Stranger Things season 5 to me. But I definitely felt the like, okay, we came up to a stopping point and then we just stopped, which a show has to end. And it was dealing with the strikes, dealing with different issues going on with HBO and everything like that too. Like you said, even the showrunner with George R.R. Martin. I will say, like, off these first 3 episodes, I feel like we are really back into like the peaks of like season 1 with some of this, because I'll tell you too, my girlfriend Tori has not watched really anything, but watched and loved Night of the Seven Kingdoms, just because it was so easy to and accessible. I was like, well, let's watch this. It's got nothing to do with anything. Let's just watch this. And they absolutely loved it. Um, unsurprisingly. But I was watching episode 1 of season 3, and then we went back and watched season 1, episode 1 again, which I watch all the time. Not all the time, but I have watched that a lot, just because I think the pilot of the show is so great, and kind of stands on its own as like its own little mini movie, uh,
Mhm.
that ends with her, being named heir, and kind of taking us all the way up to that point. I just love it so much. And really going back and watching that the other day, and then going to watch season 3, episode 3, I was like, man, this show, we've had maybe some ups and downs. I know people feel those downs more than I definitely do. Um, but I feel like this show is still so great. Like, it is
Yeah.
just particularly these 3 episodes strung together, whether it's the incredible battles of the first episode, and I think this season 3 is doing a much better job. I think it goes to you saying that you're easily tracking stuff. Is I think that season 3 is doing a much better job of having our characters talk to each other. Like,
Mhm.
season 2, it felt so like they were doing the quote unquote Empire Strikes Back thing, where like everybody's kind of split up and nobody's really revealing things to each other. This is like everybody feel, and partially because the events of the Battle of the Gullet were so, personal for a lot of people, and there's a lot of emotion going on coming out of it. I think that everybody's like wearing their heart on their sleeve and is really like getting and I guess we're not holding back any spoilers for this. So like I'll just say like I just think that we're getting so many scenes with Rhaenyra and Daemon together where they were
Mhm.
completely separate on all of season.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
getting surprising even to me, we're getting so many scenes with Alicent and Rhaenyra back together after all
Mhm.
this time, which is like a dynamic that I think us as a fan base and just viewers of the show like have been clamoring for, and it was great to get that big emotional scene at the end of season 2. That was, probably the best parts of the season 2 finale was when she goes and like, says, "Hey, come tomorrow, the gates will be open," that kind of thing. And so it's great to see the two of them together, and I think that we're just nailing and now really the only cutaways we're doing are to other important storylines, but important storylines for more side characters. Like and now I think that we're back in like specifically back in the Red Keep. I think we really feel like we are like moving with some momentum now in this story.
Mhm.
Which I think has just given this like major like ability for the writers to just like put the foot on the gas. That's like kind of how I was feeling, particularly with episode 3, which I'd love to talk about just episode 3 if you want, because it really is, the show that came to my mind for episode 3 was Better Call Saul. It felt like a Better Call Saul episode more than like a House of the Dragon episode, with just the like cutting from one thing to another, and that like there was almost a percussion in the
Yep.
music through the entire episode.
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, we're on like a Kim Wexler side adventure episode, but it's Rhaenyra Targaryen." And
Yeah.
it's just like or even like something more comedic, like of episode of Veep, about that's kind of more like quite literally what Rhaenyra is dealing with. But man, I mean, what a great idea for an episode to just be like, okay. And of course I watched but well, I watched the end making of, but I have,
Mhm.
because of the moving and work and what was even the big movie that came out? There was no big movie. It was Supergirl. Um,
Toy Story?
like, yeah, Toy Story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not been able to do my ritual. I have not watched like the full House That Dragons Made, like the full documentary. I haven't
Mhm.
watched them for these 2 episodes yet, but I did watch the after show, where they say like it was like up on the whiteboard early on where they were like Rhaenyra's first day in office.
Yeah.
Like was just a concept for just a whole episode.
Yeah.
And man, I thought that was great. And then seeing, their interactions with Damon and their interactions with Alicent and everybody, and the Septon too, trying to be like, talk to her about dragons, like like look who you're talking to.
Right.
Um I just loved all of that stuff. And then even the moments where it slowed down a little bit, it was more emotional. And then the stuff with her seeing Jace. So there was like a little bit of a horror element, a little bit of that, and always constantly throughout it, they were able to do crazy dialogue, humor, but also there was this like dread and tension that like these stakes, like, yeah, this is just day one. It wasn't
Mhm.
like, oh, day one, oh, it's crazy. It's like, no, this is just gonna get harder. This is just gonna get worse. And I thought it was great. But if you want to talk more about episode 3, I'm I'm totally down because that
Yeah,
I just watched it, so it's just like, man,
I
that blew me
completely
away.
agree with you on I'm trying to think of what the sound cues, where it's
Mhm.
like every time something went wrong, it just felt like it was a little like just another like dig, like the knife, like twisting the knife into somewhere where it's like,
Yeah,
well, here this is going wrong. And then every single time like there was like that she would take like one step forward, it almost seemed like it was like two steps back.
yeah,
Where, she would try to do something and then it just like the next thing it just wouldn't. And this is something I didn't even think about. Like I had texted you after episode 2,
yeah,
and when she finally like gets to the throne and I'm like, yes, there we go, like
yeah.
team red all the way. And I texted you the gif of Kamala Harris, calling Joe Biden, saying, "We
Did
did
it.
it, Joe." And then the next episode was like, yeah, this is way more difficult than, you know, uh,
Taking a castle.
Patty Constantine made it seem
Yeah,
throughout a season,
yeah,
or any kind of person who's sitting in the throne. Um, and I just loved kind of how she was like going about things too. Like she's trying to, appease all these different people, while also kind of looking after the people lower on the rung. She finds out that the nobles were like stealing all this food from the
mhm.
poor people
They were
and kind of
hoarding
hoarding
hand
it.
sanitizer.
They're what?
They were hoarding hand sanitizer and
Yeah,
toilet paper.
yeah. um, and not letting these people get it, and they were like
Yeah,
starving and dying and all this stuff, and she like basically feeds them what they were eating. She's
mhm.
like, "Look at these dead rats," and then her like all the rats running around. It's like, oh, by the way, Aemon, he hung all the, or was it Aegon, which one of them,
Aegon, yeah,
he hung all the rat catchers.
yeah.
So there's all these rats running around, and it's just like, man, like she just got dealt like the shittiest deck possible, and then they have no money. The money's gone. Don't know where the money is.
Yeah, that's nice too, because that was a real highlight for episode 3 for me, because it's like you don't get that reveal until like you're about like a third or 2/3 of the way through. And it's like everything else that she's dealing with, we know about. Like we
Right.
watched him kill the rat catchers. That's like a great foil for Rhaenyra, but it's also just like a great foil for the audience, because we thought that like
Mhm.
we were ahead of her on everything, and now here's this one thing that like even we weren't let in
Right.
on, like, where is the money, like
Yeah.
who got the money out, like when did that happen? So I like that they introduced like now another layer to this like mystery of like what, and then we can also talk about Ormond Hightower, and what he might be up to or planning with
Mhm.
swapping out the different Darren Targaryen kid.
Um,
But yeah, I loved all that stuff.
Something that they mentioned like in the post episode kind of conversation thing that I thought
Yeah.
was really interesting was how they talked about how she's keeping Allison like prisoner, but she's kind of like her conscience in a way where it's like she kind of consults her and comes back every few days to be like, hey, how am I doing like with this stuff? And she asks for her advice, like, how did you do this? Because you were ruling for a time, pretty much. Well, I think Aegon was gone, right?
Mhm.
And then something like that. Um, and she's basically like, you're gonna have to do stuff that previously you'd be like, I would never do that. But you just kind of have to, you know, have the thought of you need to do what's best for everybody in the kingdom and stuff like that, and just kind of push forward no matter how terrible it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Part of you has to change, you know.
right.
You got to
And I'll
be
be
willing
interested
to
to
change a part
see,
of you.
and I don't know who says this to, if somebody says this to Damon or if
Mhm.
they say it to her when they find out that is it Dragon? Is that his name? Dagon?
Darren.
Darren. Like he's like basically he's an imposter. Like they
Yeah.
sent Damon thought he took him, and then it's like, no, this other person who is kind of just dressed as them, but not actually that
Mhm.
the child. And when they're like, "Oh yeah, Ormond took over the town and he's holding
Yeah.
them hostage or whatever," and it's like, well, I can't go in there and just like set a flame to everybody because those people like are supporting me that he's keeping me hostage. So it's like kind of this like balancing act where it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't go in there like dragons a blazing because then I'm just gonna kill everybody. And then how am I gonna look? So it's just kind of
Yeah.
like this balancing act of doing what you need to do versus like doing it, but like kind of doing something else in a different way. Maybe doing something differently than you would rather do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think she really is having an interesting way of going about things. Like that she's like getting to these points of frustration where she thinks that there's nothing in her power to do. But then she'll be like, "You know what? I'm just going to go with Missandei to um the Sept." It's like the Sept wants to say that like I'm some crazy dragon lady and that, I don't want to help people or whatever. All right, let's go straight to the church and let's give out, I just fed the rats to the noblemen and stuff. Let's
Mhm.
give all of these like, great hot meals to just the people in Flea Bottom who have been struggling the most. And I think that that was just like a great thing that obviously like another thing that I think they're doing really well is like, well, we know that whatever is happening, it's not going to last
Mhm.
because it's like, well, we didn't get Rhaenyra being a long-term, sitting queen who, fixed everything and made all these great like social programs and stuff. So like you said, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see like Allison said, the push and the pull of how far are you willing to callous. I think she literally says like you need to cauterize part of yourself,
Mhm. Yeah.
or like callous part of yourself, um, to all these choices and all these decisions that you have to make. And it's like, sure, maybe today, like Damon says to her, also, he's like, yeah, this will make you look good this week. This will feed
Mhm.
people today. This is a win for right now, but like we need to think about the future. Like he's thinking like we are the Targaryen dynasty. Like once we are recouped in here, like I always was pushing Viserys to, like we need to, expand. We are the Targaryens. Like we are put upon this earth to manifest destiny. We are literally gods, is what he says. So it's very interesting, and it'll see all these different advisors and stuff, and kind of the main advisor that we haven't talked about yet that you can be damn sure we're going to spend as much time as we want talking about, which is Corlys Valerian, the
Yeah.
MVP of a lifetime. Um, Kind of all of these advisors around her, specifically once we get to the Red Keep. All these advisors kind of pulling her in different directions, even though Allison obviously is right now a prisoner. But she is definitely advising her in that like conscience kind of way that you were talking about in the after show. But yeah, let's talk about everything going on with Corliss. So obviously, huge highlight in the first episode, just absolutely taking command, literally taking command of the entire battle. And then obviously literally taking command and sailing the flagship himself
Mhm.
to kind of get away from the main triarchy pirates. Then we obviously see him washed up literally in episode 2, just trying to recuperate after the battle with at least some of his family there with Adam, Allen, and Bela were all able to get to his side. We could definitely talk about obviously Jace, Bela, and Reyna. See, this is like a show that like I'm happy to talk about all these different plots and all these different side characters. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
it's all interesting stuff that I'm like, oh, we can't forget to talk about that. Um, but yeah, let's kind of stay in the Valerian side of things for a little bit. And what have your thoughts been with Corliss, with Adam, with Alan? Obviously with the naming, everything like that. If you want to throw in Hugh and Ulf in there when we talk about that as well. What have been your thoughts on kind of the whole Corlys storyline and his allegiance to Rhaenyra really being tested with this favor that he's asking for?
Yeah, I thought in episode 1, I feel like that was a big Corlys and Alan kind of episode. I thought that was all great. I forget what the woman's name was that they were fighting.
Yeah, played by Abigail Thorne. I forget the pirate name, like the pirate queen, I guess I would just say.
So I thought all that was great. The battle was awesome in episode 1. And then obviously his land, it's gone. All his treasure, everything. He doesn't have anything else except like his name to give to Alan and Adam. And then in episode 3, he asks Rhaenyra to like, hey, will you kind of, I guess it's kind of like asking for her blessing type thing. It seems like that they take the name Valerian, or right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to legitimize them.
Right, legitimize them. Yeah. And she's like, I can't do that. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, maybe we just have, maybe this will be a plus. Like you say yes, be a great day, and it's funny just like sitting in that scene when they're like sitting down for like a family dinner, or it's the 4 of them.
Yeah.
And it's like she says like this quick little speech, I think, real quick before they start eating. And then she just like, she starts to eat, and he asks for this favor, and you like see her I think she puts her utensils down, and she's like, I can't win here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that moment.
And then I thought that later scene where he kind of brings it up again, and he kind of, I guess, berates her in a way, which he's not wrong, but he basically calls her a hypocrite.
And it mimics the scene with his brother from season 1,
And she kind of has this look of, she's horrified, but also like in her head, she's like, yeah, I'm being wrong here.
Yeah.
But it's all about the optics, as they say. I think she says the exact same thing. So I just thought all that was great. Can you got to remind me, because I needed to Google, and you need to remind me, what is the kid situation like?
With who?
Because Rhaenyra, so we got 3 kids, right? Or we got more than that?
We got more than that.
Okay, how many do we have?
Are you talking about living or all together? All together, I think there's 5.
Okay.
So there was Jacaerys.
He's
R.I.P.
dead. Yep.
Lucerys, R.I.P.
He's dead. Yep. He was the really tiny one, right?
Yes. He died when he was young, because he died before the last time jump, even.
Okay.
Because we had I think he died when they were all like tie tenant aged, when Aegon looked like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
okay.
He died when he was, I think it was like 12 or like 14 or something. Then Joffrey, who is the last Valerian. So he's Joffrey Valerian, or maybe he is Joffrey Targaryen. Maybe they had Rhaenyra's last name. I can't really remember. No, because he was Jacaerys Valerian. Yeah, so I think Joffrey is Joffrey Valerian. And then there's Aegon, who is their Aegon. And then I think there's one, because I think that her and Daemon have 2 kids. But there's definitely Aegon and then another one as well.
Right.
Viserys II, I think. I think that's what it is. Something like that. So yeah, I think so. Right now, I think she has 3 kids left. 2 of them are very, very young. And then Joffrey has been away basically since birth.
Okay.
In the Vale.
Because she's like, hey, you got to bring him here so he can be trained as my heir. Right.
Yeah, because he was sent to the Vale with Rhaena.
Oh, okay.
Who ran away and got Sheep Stealer.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
There we go. Boom. Yeah, that's right. Because she was like, you got to go with your cousin. Like, we're gonna send you with him to be his like protector or whatever. And then she abandoned him. Let's talk about Rhaena for a second here. So it's like, she's sent to the Vale with Joffrey. God, that brought us there perfectly. She's sent to the Vale with Joffrey season 2. She is not living the happy life of a castle girly. So she runs away. She's looking for, a dragon. She's the only one in her family that has not had a dragon claim. She thinks there's something wrong with me. She makes this connection that we see the start of in season 2. We see the good, horrific outcome of that in season 3, which is Sheep Stealer and her fly into the Battle of the Gullet, basically helping some, but also mainly just causing chaos and distracting the other 2 dragons, most importantly, leading to Jace basically getting knocked off of his perch and leading to his death. So now we have Rhaena basically on the run, and we have Rhaenyra looking for whoever was riding Sheep Stealer, not knowing that it was Rhaena herself. So what do we think is going to happen with that? What do we think is going to happen with Rhaena? And what do we think when we inevitably collide these 2 storylines back together and Rhaenyra finds out that it was her? Because I feel like they're definitely building towards that.
Right. I will say I thought like the actress who plays Rhaena, I thought she was like great. Very just helpless and heartbreaking throughout the scene of them all flying over the water and her trying to control the dragon, just not being able to do it.
Yeah.
And then I think in episode 2, like begging to be taken in.
Yeah.
And just, kind of making that deal where it's like, hey, I can protect you. If you just let me stay around here, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the castle or anything. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming we're going to get these little kind of things each episode where we're kind of with her, because from what I can tell, maybe she'll meet up with Bela at some point, I'd imagine. But yeah, it's going to be leading. I don't know what it could possibly be leading to. Maybe it is like they find Sheep Stealer or something like that. And it's like, oh, there she is. Because I think that's kind of the goal right now, is just to locate the dragon.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it's going to come to a point probably at the end of the
season.
Right,
yeah, because that's what Bela is out doing. Bela's out looking for Sheep Stealer. That's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, because she was like the only dragon they found was Sunfire, R.I.P.
Right.
But let's see, where else are we? Sorry, I'm trying to look at my thing here. Yeah, what did you think of the like Ulf, Adam, and Hugh getting knighted and stuff? I thought that that was the scene funny. That was the scene I texted you where I said Matt Smith is so great. He's just making a meal out of it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're this, that, okay, done.
Yeah. I love
no, I thought that was,
you said Targaryen?
Right. I thought that was all great. I thought and I forget which one this is.
Yeah.
I think it's towards the end of the episode where one of them comes up to Rhaenyra and is like,
oh, that
where
was
am I
Hugh.
living? Which one?
Hugh.
Yeah, where he's like, where am I living? And she's like, oh, blah, blah. She's like, what about your wife? She's like, oh, she left. So it's just me now. Which I do vaguely remember, like his family and everything. Yeah. Because I think he had like the big hammer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and his daughter was very, very sick, and she died because they just had no food.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how those 2 specifically play into this.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be with Daemon a lot, just like they kind of were in the beginning of the 3rd episode. And they're going to kind of be, in tandem with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see where those go, because I felt like they had kind of had like their own episode, right? In season 2. Not their own episode, but they were like a heavy.
Essentially. Yeah. It was the episode dedicated to like introducing them and stuff. Where like I think we met them all the way up to them getting their dragon mounts, maybe in one episode or so, or just to agreeing to go to
when they were when they got to like tame the dragon.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot with them last season, which now looking back, like that's time that I appreciate spending with them, because I think it just makes these moments like just much better. Because it's like, yeah, it's like he goes, "Oh, Targaryen," and it's like, yeah, you're easy to go like, "Ugh, this guy thinks he's gonna be Targaryen," but he's like, "Listen, I put my neck on the line dozens of times. I dealt with taming this dragon." Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, hey, I respect it. I respect him asking for it.
Um,
Um,
2 things I wanna bring up real quick, and of
so
course, the second thing just, like, left my mind when I said that, but, first one, we got a little cameo in this episode. I don't know if you saw who it was.
oh yes, Jacob Kowalski, of course, from Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts, yes, correct.
Yes, that's right, of course.
I
I
was
thought
I
Queenie
was
was gonna show
when
up.
he showed up, I was like, "Is that Dan Fogler?"
Yeah,
Very random. I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay," and then I was like, "Wait, has he been in the show before?" And I was like, "No, he hasn't." So I don't know if he's gonna play like a because they clearly make it like a point where she like stops and talks to him specifically
yeah.
when she's leaving the dining room. So I don't know. I'm gonna imagine he's gonna play a little bit bigger of a role maybe in this season. Um, they have him listed in the next episode, so I don't know further than that what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
But just a nice, haven't seen him in a long time. He hasn't really done much since anything like huge since
Yeah,
Fantastic Beasts. He was in a complete unknown 2 years ago. Um,
that's right. Yeah, he was.
but other than that, like he's kind of been missing. So just
Mhm.
nice to see him show up.
Yeah, I thought it was a good surprise. I was like, okay, cool. And then he definitely was like, okay, everybody at the table we're never gonna see again, but this guy who's like,
Right.
like
Yeah, exactly.
we're definitely gonna see this guy again, even if
Yeah.
he wasn't a famous person, or more like a more well known name, I should say.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm wondering if maybe he'll be like a source of money for the crown,
Mhm.
or if he has like connections to the Iron Bank or something like that,
Yeah.
something that makes him a necessity
Yeah.
for.
Uh,
I don't even know if I would say Team Black anymore, just the
right.
crown. But yeah,
Your man Otto too.
man,
That's
I
tough.
couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. He was back, and I was flying. I was flying high, and then he was gone.
It's funny
Um,
because when they're down in the dungeon and they're telling Damon like, "Oh, we got this, we kept a surprise for you. We got him
yeah,
down here." I'm like, "Who could they possibly be talking about?" And then when it was him, I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "What did happen to him? I don't even
yeah,
remember."
yeah. He just got at the end of, gosh, I want to say it was like episode 4 of season 2, maybe. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going back to Old Town,
Right.
and then they show
Yes.
him right when he leaves King's Landing. He gets like sacked off of his like road, off the
Oh,
road.
okay. Yeah.
And then you don't see him again the entire
Right.
season until the last shot, like one of the last shots of season 2 is you see him in his cage, and like somebody holds a flame up to him, and he's like,
Mm.
and that's the only thing we saw of him in season 2, in like the whole
Yeah.
back half of season 2.
Right.
Um, and then he really only gets this like 2
Yeah.
scenes, which I thought was good. You know, he
How
definitely
about
like said his piece, but yeah, the death was horrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Her, like, missing and I thought I actually thought originally she stopped. Like, she, like, turned the blade to just, like, the flat end
yeah,
and, like but then I was like, "Oh, no, it's just, like, stuck and it's not all the way
yeah,
through."
yeah. And the first hit was like across his back, like across
Yeah.
his shoulders,
Right, yeah.
which is like, oh my god. And he was like, "Ah, ah." That was like, that was crazy.
And
But
then
yeah,
You see Damon, he walks up, it's like, whoosh. The
yeah,
next guy, it's like, "Oh,
in
okay,
one
well."
second. And I like that too, that it's like, yeah, that guy was like terrible, like the Sir Jasper or
Oh, the
whatever.
guy who, like, tried to
Um,
rape,
yeah,
yeah.
Allison's. Um, he was terrible, and like, yeah, we saw him do that to Allison and stuff. But I did like the wrinkle that it was like, oh, well, if you hadn't have killed him, like, he would have like known where the money was,
Yeah.
you know, which I thought was interesting. But let's see here. Yeah, I don't know what else do you want to talk about? I feel like there's a lot in here, but also like
Uh, let's
it's very insular to the. Oh yeah, we got to talk about Aegon and
that's
Larys,
what
and
I
we
was
got
just
to
gonna
talk
say,
about
yeah.
Aemond and Alice and everything going. Let's talk about Harrenhal.
Okay.
So we
Yep.
see Aemon
Ugh.
to continue with the plan that his mother told him,
Right.
in order to get everything working with King's Landing. She basically
Kissing
had to
oh,
sacrifice Harrenhal.
real quick, sorry, kissing his mother,
Yeah, that was
seemed a little
crazy.
out of left field, no?
Yeah, it seemed out of left field, but it seemed more out of left field for the character than like the writing. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was something that like I hoped that Aemon wasn't gonna like drift into. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it was just such a like a weird, like the power is really affecting him in a very weird way, which we'll talk about, because then we see him eventually we see him fly to Harrenhal and just lay waste to all the troops that are left there.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Sir Simon.
Very upsetting too. I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, Sir Si," I mean, he's telling
yeah,
the truth right there. Sir Simon's
yeah,
like, "I got no idea what's going on,"
yeah.
you know?
Man, God bless him. He said, "Listen, I tell you the God's honest truth. I got no clue." He still went
"Where's
down.
David? I don't know.
Um,
He's gone. He left."
his one son though, shout out. I mean, he
Yeah.
got a good
He
lick in
got a
on
good
Aemon,
yes, he
man.
did.
Holy crap. But yeah, then we see Aemon goes down after this fight with the remainder of House Strong. And yeah, that we see him taken in by Alice Rivers. That's right. Sorry, I'm trying to look at your. We see him taken in by Alice Rivers, who's kind of this like maester witch kind of presence around Harrenhal, who we saw also interact with Ulf and with Hugh in the first episode. What do you think is going on with Aemon? Because he is a very big chip on the board that is needed in King's Landing, but he is off on this Damon season 2
Yeah.
Vision Quest. So
I'll
where are we
so
at
I'll
with
be
this?
honest, I was actually kinda surprised he, like, left in episode 1, or was
Mhm.
it episode 1 or 2?
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I kinda thought he was a little smarter than that. I thought he might be able to, like, kinda see
Yeah.
through it. But I don't know what's gonna happen. I think, Damon kind of raw what was her name again? I'm sorry. Uh,
Alice.
Alice. Damon kinda wronged her where she was like, "I want Harrenhal, I did all this stuff. I helped you." And he was like, "Yeah, we'll talk about it." And she has that great line. She says, "I what was it? I asked for no, what was it? Do you know what I'm talking about in episode 1 when they're standing there by the water and she's like, "I
Yeah.
asked for this and you gave me like way less than what I'm asking for."
Yeah.
I forget what the exact line was, but it was
I
a
can't
great
remember.
moment.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think she's gonna kind of build him back up and kind of use him in whatever her kind of final goal is. Because he was desperate in that moment. I was thinking he was gonna die for a second. I was like, that'd be kind of crazy if they just killed him right here.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought that was totally on the table.
so I'll be interested to see how that goes. I don't know if she is kind of witchy, so I don't know if this is like
Mm,
a bring him back to life sort of situation type thing, or I never know what's
yeah.
gonna happen here. So
Yeah, I'd be interested if he has some sort of like, I don't know. I do think that I'm excited for it to mean if Aemon's character might change, just because it's like
Mhm.
I feel like ever since he kind of steeled himself away, which was like the end of season. Well, no, because he did have regret. When he killed Luke, he
Mhm.
definitely regretted that. So I feel like Aemon really didn't like sour until like season 2, episode 2, maybe like season 2, episode 1. Just because he
Mhm.
definitely had regret over killing Luke because he didn't think that Vagar was going to do that.
Right.
But that being said, I feel like he hasn't really changed much since then. It's just been kind of getting more and more power hungry and more worried and anxious and everything like that. So I'm excited if this is like a big reset for his character, because like you even see like when he goes to Harrenhal and he's like in all this armor and he's got this sword and stuff, like he's got no eye patch on and this big helmet and stuff, like he's like honestly, like you said, he is a smart character, and he is an intimidating and scary character in a way that Aegon never was.
Mhm.
Um but it's exciting to see him potentially like taken down a few pegs and like see how that affects him, but also how it affects like the board,
Right.
like how in this like big chess game. Because now we know that uh Helena and Allison's freedom hinges upon where Aemond is. So
Yeah.
now it's like we have this ticking clock on them where it's like, well, Rhaenyra's not going to let them go scot free until we at least have Aemond back, or who we can talk about next, Aegon, who is
Mhm.
off with, who was in the, let's see, who were they with? I don't even know. They were with somebody that was in allegiance to Rhaenyra. But then they got taken out by the pirates. So
Mhm.
now Larys and Aegon are just seemingly on the run out
Yeah.
there. I forget where they say they're like, oh, we can make for, oh, they're heading to Rook's Rest,
Mhm.
which is where the big battle in season 2 took place. So, and where Aegon fell from the sky. So very, very interesting. I'm sure that'll be I hope that'll be an emotional thing. Like that would be interesting if we go back to Rook's Rest and he really has like a big emotional moment about like this is his like the site of his failure.
Mhm.
That would be actually pretty interesting. But what are your thoughts? We really have gotten probably the least with them
I would
in
agree.
terms of
Yeah.
any of the side plots so far. But what do you think we might be doing or heading towards with them, and how have you enjoyed Laris and Aegon so far?
Um, Pretty good. So I like how they kind of butt heads throughout. I think like this might be a similar situation with Aemon where Laris is going to try and build Aegon up again,
Yeah.
and be interested to see how that goes. He is very maimed, so it's gonna be tough. They're just walking there, however far that is. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be a tough
Yeah.
journey. At least for I think the time being, while they were captured, they were at least getting some sort of transportation where they weren't having to walk all the way.
Yeah, when they were getting rid of like the dead bodies, I was like, I get that like it'll slow you down and they could like chase you easily, but I'm like, take the cart.
Yeah,
Like take one horse and take the cart, man.
right. So I'll be interested to see how that kind of progresses
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the season. I can't imagine there'd be a conclusion to that with this season. Do we know how many episodes this season is?
It's 8 again.
8 again.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine there would be like that would be wrapped up
Mhm.
at the end of the season. But yeah, I'm interested to see, where that goes. And I'm just looking at the IMDb page real quick. I'm just confirming this. Thailand is dead, correct? Or do we not know that?
So
Because
Jason is dead, right? Or no, no, you're right. You're right.
yeah,
Thailand is dead.
he is okay.
Thailand did not go to Essos. Jason went to Essos. As of right now, Jason is MIA, I would say. Yes, he went
Okay,
into the water with the heavy armor,
right.
but that's the last we saw. I would not in Westeros, I would not say that that is confirmed dead. I mean, like particularly because he was pushed in by the pirate queen who then dies herself like one scene later.
Mhm.
And we didn't even get like him sinking slowly to the bottom. She just pushes him into the water, and then that's the last we see. And they have talked about Thailand quite a bit. And there was even mention of Joanna Lannister and sending information to Casterly Rock for money. So you touch on an interesting thing with that, because
Yeah.
I do wonder if that'll come back up in some bigger way.
I think I got confused too because I didn't realize he played both. I like completely forgot about
Yeah,
that they're yeah. So
that they were
that
twins.
that
Yeah,
makes sense. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Because you see Damon again playing with the one guy's head,
Right.
but again, they didn't say the name, but yeah, it's the one that never left Westeros, the one who is the master of coin.
Hmm.
He's the one who is a confirmed battlefield
Yeah. And
head.
did Rhaenyra, does she have a hand yet? Did she name that?
Corliss.
It
Corliss
is
was her
Corliss.
hand. Yeah,
Okay.
because
That's what I
Corliss
thought.
was her hand at Dragonstone, and he said, "Are we bringing the rest of the council?" And she
Right.
was
Yeah.
like, "They're done to me,"
Yeah.
which again made him upset because it's like, well, then I'm done too. And then I love that too because it's like she's already disrespecting him with that. And like, yes, I get it. We are in Rhaenyra's perspective at that dinner. Like, it's so great where it's like, I'm trying to sit here and eat with my family. Like, and my family, I just found out that my family got bigger by 2 people, and I am genuinely happy about that. But then it's like this ask of this thing that's like represents so much more of this stuff.
Mhm.
But then also at the small council, or not even small council, just at like that little meeting that they had, um, she asks for his help, and he just goes, "I go with whatever you say." And it's like, she's like, "Oh, you're not even useful."
Worthless.
Yeah, worthless. And it's like, you're the one pushing him away. Like, the
Yeah.
last time he asked her for advice or was like, do you want to bring your advisors here? She was like, no, they're worthless to me. And
Yeah.
he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I loved all that stuff. I just think that any actor who plays opposite Emma Darcy is just like, that scene is just like dynamite. I don't
Mhm.
know. It's like there's something about, and it's how every interview I've ever seen any co-star talk about them too, is that it's just like when they are in Rhaenyra mode
Mhm.
and like Rhaenyra takes over, like it is like, I don't know. She is just a crazy character, and they are a incredible actor that I
And
think
can we just
episode 3 was just
touch on
unreal.
episode 2 as well, just the beginning
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that emotion of anger and rage and sadness all kind of mixed into one scene.
Yeah,
Um,
denial, like
yeah,
confusion too.
denial. I thought that was all that was just that was like well that I mean that went on for a while. Like that felt like a good five
That
ten
was,
minutes straight.
yeah, exactly. Just
um
locked in.
yeah. So yeah, this you know, this show is I don't know if like people would say, you know, it's reached the height of Game of Thrones. You know, if we're
Mhm.
looking at season 1 through what, 5, 6, right? Those are that's
Yeah,
kind of peak.
yeah.
And then it went 7 seasons, right?
8.
8 seasons. So taking away the 8th season, season 1 through 7. You know, I don't know if people would say like, "Oh my god, it's up there," but I think it's been pretty darn close so far. You know, season 2 was kind of a little wavery. You know, I think if they added episode 1 from this season into season 2, I think season 2 would shoot up right there to season 1.
Yeah.
But I think so far they've been doing a really good job. I still haven't watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I know everybody says that show was great.
What?
Yeah, I haven't got it yet.
That's actually crazy. That is very worth, watching.
Yeah, it's more of a
Um,
comedy, right?
yeah, but it's still got it's still Westerosi. Like, it's like
Right,
a
okay.
Westerosi comedy.
Mhm.
Um, which is big for them because I know their entertainment industry has been struggling for a while. Everything's moved to Essos now. I did like that mention though. That was like, all the like so much of the world that we've seen in Game of Thrones. It's like Damon like kept us down to earth this episode and was like, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
Like we're
Talking about
just
the old
focusing on,
Valeria and
yeah,
stuff
like
like
we're
that, yeah.
just focusing on like King's Landing and like the
Right.
Red Keep. And it's like we should be out there like looking at the whole world,
Yeah.
and that's like what him and his first wife wanted to
Do
do
you
too.
think there's any chance he kinda and I know, like, he had the whole thing with season 2, like, he had the vision and it was like, you know, "You're meant for this position. You're not meant to rule. That's
Yeah,
not your journey. That's not, you know, your destiny," type thing, but do you think there's any way that he kinda because at some point
tries
from
again.
yeah, as much as, you know, I'm sure he loves what he's doing now, you know, you can only and him and we didn't talk about her, Mysteria, but them kind of butting heads and him trying to give this advice and not necessarily being followed, stuff like that. Do you think there's a moment where he flips back to being like, no, I want to roll?
I think if he keeps seeing, if these moments of like, I think that would only happen if there is like a major shift coming.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think it would be like a flippant thing or like a quick thing. Like, I think it would have to be Rhaenyra is really either making violent bad decisions or is genuinely proving herself to be like too weak to rule. Those would be the
Hmm.
only two things that I think. And I think even then I think that he would not flip. But I mean, it is possible. I mean, I think anything is possible. But I think maybe it's just the will for Matt Smith.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, he's so good in this show too. All right. Well, I think that will do it for our first talk of the first 3 episodes. I am currently right now about 2/3 of the way through X-Men 97 season 1 with Tori, and once we are done with that, we are moving straight on to season 2. So definitely going to be caught up with that way before it finishes. So we'll probably be talking about X-Men 97 on the channel as well. Probably bringing a nice beautiful yellow background for that one. So we will catch you guys when we talk about that. But for now, I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been there was TJ Cornwell. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and we will see you next time.